which was a little tedious, but now we are online. So once a government valuer fixed that amount, say they have fixed about maybe 50 million, URA will pick 1.5% as stamp duty for transfer of land of the total value of the value that the government value has placed there. So what we will do on the URA side, we will issue a payment registration slip to this client who has made the declaration. And we will require them to pay. After paying, the client can ably generate a stamp certificate online. We do not need any intervention there with URA. Once they've generated the stamp certificate, they've attached the transfer application, they've attached, if there's an agreement, they've attached it and they pay stamp duty, because an agreement is a fixed instrument, whereas transfer of land is an ad valorem. Ad valorem means it keeps on changing, it varies. That's why it's ad valorem, that's why we use a rate, and it's now 1.5. Then they will proceed to lands. Then land will complete the transaction by effecting the transfer in the event that all is well. So apparently that is the process the client has to walk through to see that their land is transferred at that particular time. But the TIN application, the TINs, we will require them here when you're making the declaration. That's where we want to tag them to.
I want to take you back a little bit. You talked about some of the documents that someone needs to attach.
Yes.
If you can kindly elaborate more on what would I require, what are the documents I require to attach if I want to have my land transferred into my name.
This is a transfer of land. I expect a transfer or application to be. I expect identifications of the two parties to be there. I expect passport photos to be affixed on the application of both the buyer and the seller. And I expect probably a copy, if they could avail a copy of the land itself at that particular time to be affixed. Because what happens when a client is declaring, they put the value they think is worth their land. So the intervention of the government valuer is to either confirm or to give us the right value onto which URA is going to pick the 1.5%. Then after the payment is done, the client has generated a stamp certificate, then they can move all the documents to Ministry of Lands to complete the process.
Okay, thank you so much, Hafsa. Why you are looking into the transaction of land? Why did we come up with that requirement, especially in land transactions?
Land implies that the buyer or seller, most especially the buyer in this case, is doing something, some business somewhere. There should be some income where we can save to a tune of 10 and above millions and place them in land. What does it tell the taxman? It tells me that you're in business. And what we need is to capture that business. We are not going to register land on this tin. I have to make it very clear. Because if you're just transacting like any other person, we just need to know, are you on a register? And when you avail a tin that you've been using, say, pay as you hand is paid through that tin, you have any other business, it's well okay. What we need is to capture the source of income. Like any other business, we are trying to level the ground. Because if you have that financial muscle to pull 10 and above million, then it rings a bell that you're doing some business, some good business. That is a business I need to register on this tin moving forward. Actually, I need to widen the tax base and bring you on the tax base if you're not yet there. Because as the other people are paying their income tax on whatever business income they have, or rental income, or employment income, then equally I need to know what is happening. Just because we are tagging it on a transaction does not imply that I am registering that land on this tin, because you're placing the money in the land. It is not going to generate any income, not until you have reached a point when you're selling it. That is probably when you're going to get a profit, in between how much you bought and probably how much you're selling. But here I am looking at what you do on a daily to be able to save and buy that land. That is the income I want to register, and that is it. Unless you're dealing in buying big chunks of land. And
we are bettering our systems. We want to avoid duplicity. At times people use other people's names to ensure that this tin and this name are exactly the ones that are in this transaction.
And maybe, David, to add on to that, it is going to help the client, as in the buyer. What if you enter into going to track back, because you just know the phone number and maybe the name of that person who sold you. But when I avail a tin on both sides, it can help investigation move faster, because my tin has your biodata and has the source of income. So with the biodata, it's easy to track this person, and we see that you can sort yourselves out. So ideally, before even looking at the tax bit of it, it is going to help you. No, because normally there are transactions that you buy and you sort yourselves. Who sold it twice, who sold it the first time, and all that.
Now, right there, Hafsa, you've talked about a tin, it's a requirement. Not many of people dealing in land, especially the buyers, most of them don't have tins. What would you advise a person like someone who doesn't have a tin? How would they go about it? They've bought their 50 by 100, say in Luero, and you're saying you as URA, they need a tin to have that 50 by 100 transferred to their name. How would they go about it?
Maybe the improvement in our service delivery that has been made of recent is the instant tin, where we are availing the tin application in an easier way and a faster way. We do not need to look at the Excel-based sheet. It is a one-page, and in the event that you have a NIN, it's even way faster, because we are now integrated with NIRA. We are integrated with Uganda Registration Services Bureau to verify the details of the business you are registering here. So actually everything is a little smoother. You just visit our portal, you click on where services is. On your left hand side you look for tin registration. Then as the page appears, then you will need to input your NIN. It will help you auto-populate the details, your names, your phone number, your email, whatever you used there will equally come here. Then probably what we'll need to ask you, what is the source of income? What is it that you're doing on a daily? So that is the income we'd like to bring here, and you register it, then submit. And as you submit, the tin will be given to you instantly. Would not need to wait for the duplicity, wait for verification and all that. It's like you need to get the tin ASAP and you can transact. And maybe the other thing we are trying to do as URA is to bring services nearer to our clients. For example, we are looking at the points of transfer. We have the Wachiso Land Board. We have a resident officer there as URA. So we are trying to plant officers nearer to where you're going to transact from. If we don't have an office, a liaison office that is near the office, we are going to see that we plant officers there just to help you out. It could be, it could look easy, that an instant tin is easy, but to some it's a little hard. So we are trying to see that we simplify our processes so that you can... Exactly.
I can walk there and this officer...
Yes, you can walk there, or to any liaison station. But since this amendment came out in December, definitely as we try to improve on our service delivery, we are going to see how we have resident officers near the land boards that basically do the transfers, so that in the event that you haven't come with a tin, but at least you have an identification, the table is just availed there for you to get one.
Tell us more about the instant tin. I'm looking at a grandfather deep down in the village.
Yes.
Can they get that tin, say, on a a phone? Do they have to come to URA?
We are trying to see how we can communicate to our clients, because what we've been doing is emphasizing on email, but as you realize, email may not be comfortable to all our clients, but at least that phone is okay, because your grandmother has that phone where you normally call them, how are you, and all that. You send the mobile money there for them to sort themselves. So ideally, we want to use the SMS communication, that when the tin is ready, you can get an alert via your phone and you can do the transaction.
Maybe to add on, instant tin is simple. If you have a NIN, if you have your phone number, you can get the tin immediately, instantly there and then. So you just have to, we also have an app. And but if you go to ura.go.ug, you can go in and put in your details, just like Hafsa said. Put in your NIN, your details will be auto-populated. Put in your phone number, and then you get your tin.
Immediately.
Instantly, immediately. You don't actually have to take rounds, travel far and wide, and you get your tin immediately.
Okay. Thank you, David. Is this a new tax? Because that was the contention around the requirement of a tin, and people asking, is this a new tax? Do I have to pay stamp duty? And on top of stamp duty, I also pay a new tax. Is URA introducing a new tax on land? You can help us and demystify.
Thank you.
That.
There is no new law which has been put in place. It's just a regulation where we've decided to bring it lower, up to 10 million. And for a new law, there is no new law, ideally. But let me also say this. It is also to harmonize with our Income Tax Act. For people who do business and are out there doing business, when you look at the law, especially the Income Tax Act, and especially the small business enterprises, for those whose income is from 0 up to 10 million, there is no income tax to pay up to 10 million. So, but from 10 million going ahead, you find their presumptive rates for the small taxpayers. And so we are also harmonizing to just make sure that now visibility is only to people who are transacting
The land.
at 10 million and above. But there is no new law that has been put in place.
Okay, thank you, David. Dear viewers, we are live on YouTube, we are live on Facebook, and also on URA TV. Please send in your questions, any burning questions about this new requirement, and our experts in the house will be able to dissect them. Hafsa,
Yes.
I have inherited land
Yes.
from my grandfather, and he died, he passed on. Am I also required to have a tin if I'm to transfer this land to my name?
Yes, you are required to have a tin, because one, the tin is given to you for free. Then two, yes, you are inheriting this land, but you may be involved in gainful employment, gainful business, where we need to record it down via a tin. So that is still okay, it is well, but we will need a tin to actually get that source of income that you have before the inheritance come into picture. However, if you find yourself that at the time of inheriting, you don't have any source of income, say you could be retired, or you're not employed, it is well. we will register that tin and we will include stamp duty. Because definitely as they give birth to you, there's a certificate of recognition of the birth. Ideally, to recognize a death, we expect a certificate in one or the other, because it will indicate when that person passed on, so that we can know how to handle moving forward. Because at times it may not even be only land, it's the estate, and the estate has more than land. So ideally, that is the same treatment you will use if there are vehicles, if there are buildings, to see that you can transfer them to what it says, what it indicates in the letters, what it indicates in the will. Yes.
Does someone need multiple tins to transfer land? For instance, I'm selling land. Do I need actions?
Uganda Revenue Authority issues you only one tin. What we do is indicating the different tax types or the different avenues in which you're going to use it from. Because when I look at tax types, I am looking at my income tax, that's a given. If you're involved in any business, there's the VAT, there's pay as you earn, there's a reason why each tax type is registered under a tin. Or if you have an instrument to declare valid of the client on what the authority has observed. But it's one tin that you use across the board, be it a transfer of motor vehicle, be it a transfer of land, be it declaring your return via income tax or VAT. It is that one tin that you will use. You just need to keep amending. You could reduce what is there, what is no longer relevant to you, or you could even add.
Maybe.
Yes. Yeah.
Maybe to also add, we have come from far. And at some point, someone would come, he's at Malaba, he wants a tin, he gets one. He puts his home address as Malaba. Then he comes, he's coming in from Katuna, he gets another one, you know. But we have cleaned up our systems, and we have improved them to a point that right now we have better visibility and we can see. We also have people who come and give different details, but with the NERA and URSB, it has helped us. And so maybe the fact is that one tin for an individual or for a business, you're not supposed to have any. If there are people who have those, it is not correct, and if we get them, we usually merge them, or we deactivate them. But for those who had such things, now that we have NERA, that won't happen, and that's why we're asking people to update.
Invoices grow legs and disappear.
I believe this is what you're looking for.
Now how did it get there?
Tabo! Do you know that with EFRIS, you can stay on track of all your business transactions and improve on your record keeping?
How so?
Katituliku computer with EFRIS. I just search using the fiscal document number and I retrieve the records I'm looking for. Bookkeeping becomes simple after that.
Kapo, awesome, yeah.
I began using URS Kakasa Solutions and now I'm in charge of my business, and you can as well.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Kapo, you seem to be in a hurry. Where are you going to?
I'm gonna pay URA visit.
Why would anyone visit URA? Of all places?
To know more about the Kakasa business solutions, namely digital tracking solution, the voluntary disclosure program, and my business around. You know I need to be on top of my game to protect my empire. If you know, you know.
I too need to know what Kapo knows.
Kakasa, be sure you are in charge of your business. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
On 5th September 1991, the Uganda Revenue Authority is born through an Act of Parliament, Cap 196 of the Laws of Uganda.
We had just started and they had to bring in an expatriate to start URA.
In chess, the small one can become the big one. It's the same here. And here too. Watch every move. Record every number so you can plan better. No matter the size of your dream, tomorrow's success belongs to those who keep today's records clean. File your returns today. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Welcome back to the
Wait,
MCHUZI
tunamaliriza.
This morning's webinar, we are talking about TIN, tax identification number, being a requirement for all those who are transacting in land which is above 10 million. With me in the studio is David Rusoke, our manager tax literacy, and Hafsa Seguia, our expert in tax education. They are dissecting all the nitty-gritty around that requirement that you need a TIN to transact in land. And we are live on Facebook. We are also live on YouTube and URA TV. If you're on YouTube, please subscribe to our channel. Click that notification button so that you don't miss any uploads that URA puts up there. And when you're on Facebook, please like our page and share our content. This webinar is there to help you, understand all the topical tax issues, so that you know your rights and obligations when it comes to issues of tax. Back to you, David. Before we went for the commercial break, we were discussing if someone has more than one TIN, what would you tell them to do? If you can explain furthermore on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, it is really not supposed to happen. Mm-hmm. And yes, come and if you're actively using one, let us either merge or ensure that you have one TIN. We will ensure that we deactivate the other.
But at times,
of
David,
course,
they don't actively use one. They interchange.
The interchange.
Exactly. When I use this, I can use.
Yes, but of course, if we find you, you know, you can be inconvenienced also. You will find you have sold your car, and you'll have an inconvenience not knowing, especially. And okay, there are some people who know, and there's fraud in there. But we are cleaning, we are coming. But what we usually do, if we find such, we merge. We merge the tins and all the tax information on each. And
exactly.
Having
and maybe we maintain the first one because that is the first cut.
Yes.
So whatever came after that, we normally maintain the first one.
And you could lose records if we remove one. Okay. You had the other one. Of course, we would sit with you, but yes, ideally it's not supposed to happen, and we are encouraging you to come. And we help. We will do our cleanup, but if we do our cleanup without you, we will take the decision on exactly what should happen. And then there's some people who have tins which have wrong details, but that one, let me leave it. Maybe we'll deal with it again. But it's not. I want to say it lightly that you should have
one tin.
One tin.
And now it's even easier to have an instant tin. Now, Hafsa, some of our colleagues out there use agents to get tax identification numbers, the tins, and they basically give all their information to the agent. What advice would you give such a person, given that tin is literally your tax account with URA? What advice would you give someone on how to handle their tin?
Maybe to our viewers out there, what we can use to reach you. Most especially your contact, as in a phone number, your email. And once you put there your email, please don't share that password. Because at times, when we receive a task from your end, say it's on the other tin, we'll imagine you're two different people, yet you're one person. So I urge our viewers out there, please handle only one tin. It even gives you peace to handle issues on one tin. But when we call you today, we are calling another name here. You've twisted your surname, we are calling you. I mean, we'll keep calling you the same person, but in another format, because you've branded yourself differently on these tins. So ideally, that is what I would like to tell viewers out there. Ensure that you have the details to your tin, to yourself, and not the agent. Once you discover the agent has the password of your email, at least you need to change it. So that it is you we communicate to. It is you who has pushed in this task. It is you talk to you, and somebody else is speaking on your behalf. I will imagine I talking to. At least for both sides, we ensure that we put the right details on our tins, because it is well if things change. You just please come to us and tell us, you know, by the time I registered that tin, I was dealing in this. So I was dealing in NAND, Pintubiagana. I have now changed. I'm employed here, and this is my detail. So that we can change. We will imagine that you're still in the same business, and mark you back in this side. The different business activities have different ISICs. And when I'm giving you an estimated assessment, in case you did not file, I am using the industrial average of that particular sector, yet you're no longer there. So it's healthy to keep us, and to keep the communication burning in between yourself and URA, so that we can maintain what actually is happening at your side. And it is well okay. You can even deactivate it if there is nothing. Because you might have deactivated this tin when business closed. And here you want to come up because this land transaction requires a tin. It is well good, come back and say, you know, I don't have business, but this land was given to me by my father, by my grandfather. He died and whatever, and I have to register it in my names. We are going to reactivate it. But when we reactivate it, we may maintain only the stamp duty, because actually you are not doing anything with your income. There's nothing much coming out of you. But all that should actually make sense when you are telling us, because if you come and tell us that you don't have any income and you are 40 or 35, I should imagine you're still in some gainful activity, whether employment or business. How do you earn? How do you survive? And if you're a man, did somebody marry you? I mean, it is actually known that it's the ladies, they marry, and I mean, you survive by your husband's income. So the lie should make sense to the taxman to believe it and actually do what you wish. But if it doesn't make sense, we will actually tell you, please, first sort yourself. What happens? Because you've come driving to URA, you've told us, parking, there is no parking. Then I'll ask you, what about the car? Do you know this car? It was given to me. Yes, very good. Who maintains it? So one lie will lead to another, until we get the truth. So let us maintain what is the truth in these tins that we apply for.
Okay, let me add. I want to go to the details that are in the tin profile. We've had challenges where the tax agents, like she said, and there's fraudulence. There are people using other people's tins. Absolutely. They know the implications of using a tin, of having a tin. So they import things in another person's tin. You'll find 10 cars which have come through your tin. So you must own your tin, make sure the information, you know what is happening. You see the communication from URA. If you don't, someone will use your tin. And so I want to build up on Hafsa's statements for that. Know what is happening in your tin, own it, change and ensure your details are there. Don't get a tin that my friend got it for me, my brother, someone got it. Okay, are you getting any information from your, is it your phone number? Because at times we call people and they're different people. So come, amend, know what is happening, then ask for your brother, your sister, that tax agent or tax consultant to give you information regarding what you are receiving. If we say, please file your returns, come and ask, enter any service center and find out. So don't run away. Some people fear us. When we call, hey, I don't want to let the phone numbers come. The emails are scaring, come and find out. Where is the email? Okay, they are saying, just like she said, an assessment has come. 5 million. Don't sit back and say, me, I'm doing nothing. How do I know, as Uganda Revenue Authority, that you are doing nothing? So one, correct the information. Give us the right information. Don't let him get his own instant tin in 5 seconds. Where you are seated, you can have a tin. Tell him to get his own now. We are bettering all our systems. But don't give your details also to other people. And if you don't own your details, someone might be using their details, your details to import their 10 containers. Then we will come to you and ask you, okay, you imported 10 containers. We are expecting you to have a certain amount of income tax to pay based on that. So there's some fraudulence which our taxpayers need to be aware of and ensure that you own your details in order not to get into such a trap.
Exactly, that message of teens is very, very hectic. And we normally find it in couples. When this man knows that he has used his tin and there are a lot of assessments, he will get one for the wife and start using it. So ideally, what I would like to tell our clients, today there is happiness here, you can talk. But when the happiness is not there, the tin remains yours. As a wife, as a daughter, as a son, and URA is going to look for you, not your father. And more so when you're above 18 years, it is okay to look for you, and you actually tell us what is that is in there, that you are doing. Ensure that whenever you receive a notification from URA on a transaction via your TIN that you're not aware of, get in touch with us. Do not think that when you received a notification that thank you for application for your change of ownership of this car, then you become happy that the car has been given to you. Nobody can give you a car when they don't know you. That implies somebody is using your TIN. So you better come to us and we see how we can arrest the situation. Because we have all means to arrest the situation. We can just freeze this vehicle transaction in the car, in the system, and we wait for whoever is claiming it. But when transactions are passing via your TIN, you read and just keep quiet. I mean, at the end of it all, you will want to use this TIN meaningfully. That is when it will hit you hard to answer all these questions David is talking about. You don't know these people. You have been silent. You say you've been getting the messages, but you decided to keep quiet. That implies that to some extent you know them. And maybe the other thing I would like to urge our clients, besides the land transactions we've been discussing. Yes. Okay, they could be users of TINs, but maybe to urge our clients that as we talked about assessments, we have been issuing some assessments of recent. Say in December, we issued a couple of assessments in the Kampala Business Hub, that is Chikubo. Please don't keep quiet. If you're uncomfortable, you don't understand the figures, where they're coming from, we have a liaison office just down there on Aponye building on the second floor inside UBA. Please go there and see that you rectify the situation. Because once you keep quiet, enforcement is soon. Enforcement is as soon as next week. That implies that URA is coming in. Because once you keep quiet, it means that you're in agreement of that amount. And in the event that you're in agreement, please pay it up. And if I don't see a corresponding payment, that means I'll come to enforce. So if you don't agree with it, it is very well okay. Go to our Aponye office and see that you can tell us what you agree to. Then we maintain that, then you make payment, then that is all. So I just wanted to remind our clients moving forward, because there are those that have assessments and they don't know what to do, and they were given the assessments way back in November, December last year.
Thank you so much, Hafsa. That's a very good point. Taxpayers or anyone who needs URA services should come to us. For those who are afraid of us, we have other channels they can use. We have Facebook, we are on Twitter, we have we do have toll-free lines 0800117000.